Awesome, guys. This is it. This is how our body works. This is the yin and yang within all of us that wants to be balanced. This is going to be a quick learning, quick remembering, quick understanding of how we can balance the polarity and the duality between the masculine and the feminine within all of us, and why those hormones are so essential. So we'll start with kind of how we all wake up in the morning. We all release about an hour's worth of cortisol in the morning, depending on the person. So stay away from caffeine the first hour of the day because you are having a slow releasing natural hormone to wake you up. And when you put caffeine underneath that, you really will suffer burnout halfway through the day. So you are releasing cortisol the first hour you wake up, and you wake up because this master gland called the hypothalamus, its only job is to really go in between the nervous system and the hormonal or endocrine system, and to have them communicate, understand which are extra sensitive, which are backed up, creates an equilibrium. It will create a natural metabolism for you through the day and a circadian rhythm. So everything about waking up and having this communication kind of balance out is what's going to determine how much energy you have during the day and how much ATP you are producing for healthy mitochondria. So we wake up, and if you notice all of the systems of the body, which there are 12, 6 of them are more masculine and carry more of a burden on a daily basis, meaning they work very hard and they run very hot. And if you'll notice, it's kind of roughly what you use when you first wake up. Nervous system, muscles contract, wake up, stand up, skeletal system. Your immune system is always having to go. It's never technically off, but it does work harder during the day when we're interacting with things in life. So the immune system naturally starts getting revved up. The excretory system, also known as the urinary system, so most of us use the restroom after waking. And cardiovascular system, it's really good to wake up and exercise actually, because you automatically burn off all that cortisol that you just made. You burn off any extra testosterone you may have from any of the extra meat you've been eating, or however you're storing that testosterone. It should get cleared out on a 24-hour cycle with endorphins, with exercise, with all these Mars themes. So masculine, male, Mars, yang, it's the force, drive, the energy, the output of expending energy. And this feminine side is all receiving, nourishing yin. So everything's a balance and a dance of duality and polarity because everyone has a job to do. So we usually have dopamine spurts through the day too, because that is an instantaneous, much like adrenaline. Adrenaline is instant energy, and it's really actually hard on the adrenals. People can get addicted to adrenaline. It's not just stress induced, it's excitement. You can get addicted to that high, and that's all frontal cortisol, frontal cortex assessing danger or not assessing danger. So that's more of the nervous system. This is all ADHD, bipolar. If we get this system out of whack, this nervous system gets wonky and we start getting hypertension, we start getting high blood pressure, all kinds of mental cognitive problems, because this whole daytime process, the processor, calculating, measuring, being able to have a linear timeline, everything that is processing, decision-making, critical thinking, problem-solving is left-brained. That takes a lot of energy and that needs replenished. And it also needs mitigated adrenaline for clear thinking. So everything with this daytime system has to do with the pineal gland in the left brain. assessing and measuring and making decisions. So that's all testosterone driven. We need cooked foods and proteins and amino acids to support the structure and integrity of our skeletal system, of everything that holds us upright and actually makes it necessary and able to get up and move. That is all going to be these systems here that need vitamins, just antioxidants, anything that cools down sodium that causes all of this heat, much like insulin. But you need all the vitamins from these cooked orange and green foods, because orange, again, is just, all of those foods are going to promote strength and integrity of your cells. And green foods are just going to even your disposition throughout these two systems. So focus on getting your sweet potatoes and your leafy greens and all of those good things in your cooked foods, but mitigate the quantity of your salt and get a quality salt. The more quality salt it is, the less it's going to taste like table salt. It's actually going to taste like minerals. Oryx salt is really good, ORXY or ORYX. Salt from Africa is really clean. It doesn't have all these microplastics and things in them. So salt is very necessary for neurotransmitter firing and for muscle kind of flexing. And it is very alkaline. Everything in this system has to be alkaline because it has to move. So it's very clearing and cleansing, but it causes dehydration and, like we said, hypertension and blood pressure issues. So it does give you energy, but just be sure what kind and how much you're using. All right, so all of this fiery Mars, getting it done energy is balanced out by zinc, which is directly linked to your immune system, and your whole root chakra, which is everything to do with just basic health, basic standard of living, having an immune system, being able to not have, outbursts. Zinc and potassium are together in a lot of foods because they work to balance each other out. But zinc is a metal, just like copper. And zinc is electric and will go into these places with a lot of congestion and decay, and it will zap it with this electrical current, which we need with our electrical tissues in our being. And it will alkalize, clear out, oxidize, and clear up anything that is causing or triggering adrenaline. So it's a metal, it's antifungal, antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial. So zinc is pivotal for clearing out all of the, congestion, but just inflammation and cooling it down. Potassium also does this. It's also called the green spinning salt because it is this eco-hybrid mineral that burns cool, that's really good for the brain and all these systems that burn hot and work hard. So if you want endurance, if you want to be able to recover, this whole system, you have to get potassium and zinc in your diet to even balance out sodium intake. Make sure you're getting the good salts like sodium chloride that's in celery and the good sodium that is actually hydrating. A lot of just flat out salt, ionized salt, is really alkalizing and really dehydrating. So that also calcifies your pineal gland. These are very important to balance out the trinity that boosts testosterone and just energy in general. Mars, energy, drive, ambition. Zinc, being connected to the immune system, is going to clear out your whole root chakra. It's going to clear out tissues that are around the reproductive system. And it's also going to help flush out lymph nodes that are holding onto things in those areas by the pelvis and the groin. And so if you have backed up or not enough of any of this, you will have low libido, you will have too much libido. So you definitely have to think about your potency, fertility, and your libido levels when you're taking in salt, because this high protein salt dynamic will really amp up that Mars drive. So we want to keep it clear and balanced with these cool minerals. And that will also help with your taste and sense of smell, which we all lost during COVID. And we had to mega dose on zinc and quercetin and NAC and all these things just to alkalize and clear out the virus. Okay, so zinc and potassium, super antiviral, super good for clearing out and having energy because nothing is standing in your way. Zinc is your friend. It does so many things. I'm going to post right up here on the screen a list of all the things that zinc does for you. It promotes wound healing. So again, Mars, irritation, any kind of like combat or abrasion, that's all ruled by Mars, and inflammation and aggravation. And so that is very soothing for all of those things, that cooling green. So get your celery, get your cucumbers, get all of those boring vegetables in because they will give you vital energy. Get your cooked orange and green foods to have a strong skeletal system, if nothing else. Get your protein amino acids for your DNA that you pass on to your children. And yes, did I say vitamins already? Because you need all the vitamins that you can get for the brain, for all of these things that are water-based that get flushed out of your urinary tract every day. So you have water-soluble vitamins and you have fat-soluble vitamins. You have vitamins and minerals. You have amino acids and fatty acids. Okay, so I hope you're seeing a pattern, and I'm reiterating to the point where it really sinks in, because zinc and copper are both metals. They both produce ATP, and they are both linked to the hormone associated. So zinc is always linked to testosterone and copper always to estrogen. But potassium is always linked with zinc, which combats testosterone, and sulfur is always, not always. This is the link, the missing link right here. You need more sulfur in your diet because it combats too much copper, which is binding estrogen to your digestive system. We can't use the restroom or have a bowel movement without healthy fats because that is how the gallbladder produces bile. You have to have healthy fats. And then those fats bind these toxic hormones or heavy metals or chemicals that the body can't process or doesn't know what to do with, binds it to those fats and pushes it out of your stool. And that is why you feel so good after you have a bowel movement, because you just got rid of a bunch of toxic estrogen that makes you feel a certain way. This whole side is just the subconscious and the dreams and the imagination and the feelings. And if it has too much, amplifying it through processed carbs, processed foods, packaged grains, any kind of insulin boosting, low fiber, zero sulfur food is going to amp up your copper. And that accumulates in your liver. If you're not getting enough of these fats and proteins and you're just eating a highly processed diet, you're getting skyrocketed copper amounts. It's storing in your liver, which your body isn't producing the proteins anymore that you're not getting to bind to the estrogen and to put through your stool. So you're not getting the fiber. Sulfur is a volcanic digestive salt that dissolves accumulation and congestion and really just like stuck, sticky stuff. It goes in and dissolves it to the point that new oxygen can come through, new blood can hit the tissues for the first time. So sulfur makes ways for new life and ways for new air. And so that's why it is so pivotal to balancing out copper. So beans and legumes, they have a really healthy and high level of copper and sulfur together. But if you are just eating raw fruit, raw foods, and just getting insulin spikes, you're getting so much copper. You're not getting any sulfur because sulfur is really in these really potent foods like grapefruit and garlic, beans and legumes, meat, poultry, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Okay, so those are going to be sulfur rich. That will balance out any insulin spikes, really, but definitely copper. So it's overspilling in the liver with unbound copper. Your liver produces a protein to combat that, but because it's overprocessed with copper, it can't produce that protein. So now the copper is accumulating over your liver and going through your system into your gut. It's also stuck in your gut from not having enough being flushed out of your system. So this is going to cause autoimmune problems for a while. And then eventually, if this does not get fixed, it will cause infertility, all kinds of reproductive issues, because it sits there with the gut. Everything around the gut is going to suffer. And so your reproductive organs, your kidneys, everything is going to suffer. So you have to be able to get enough of these other very important minerals, iodine, sulfur, just basic fiber. Those are all in healthy fats, fatty acids, omega-3s. These are all going to help catch the copper, take it out. Another thing that can happen with copper, copper is pretty much the reason I am talking about this all. So copper accumulation that doesn't stop in the gut, that you keep accumulating, goes then to the brain. So this is where we get a lot of raw vegans on a lot of fruit, getting a lot of excess, unbound, now toxic metal copper. So when it has nowhere else to go, it goes to the brain. And that is when you are developing something called Wilson's disease. Now, Wilson's disease, it's that copper toxicity that has stored in the brain. It's actually just another word for psychosis. So you're going through this psychosis with high insulin spikes, blood sugar spikes, estrogen spikes, copper spikes, mood shift, not being able to sleep because insulin and sugar inhibits the rest and digest in the vagus nerve. Like if you're consuming insulin and sugar, it's either you're going to crash from the sugar or you're going to have to balance it out with some protein or fats at some point, because this will always inhibit your vagus nerve from turning on, which is how we get into rest and digest even during the day. So we have to get the right combination of fats, minerals, and these metals and these minerals that break down metals and the accumulation they cause to actually have a healthy hormonal system. Again, your hormonal system, the quality of it is your quality of life. So if you have too much estrogen, you're going to be really emotional. If you have too much testosterone, you're going to be really aggressive. And yet, if you have imbalance of both chronically, you are going to be someone that no one wants to be around. So we want to be able to create enough ATP for energy. This is also mood and just all the feel-good parts of being alive and having enough energy. That's from ATP and your mitochondria. That's how our metabolism is healthy, how we get rid of excess weight gain. So that's all going to happen through iodine as well. Every health problem I have ever had in my whole life has been from insulin and been stemmed from a sugar, copper, estrogen imbalance that has thrown off all of these passive systems in the body that hold on to things forever until you detox them. Detoxing them takes at least a month. That's the cycle that they have to go through. And you are not going to be able to get into deep REM with the pituitary gland if you are having too much sugar, insulin, or inflammation in general. But I hope this makes sense. So everything is teeter-tottering on the other. Everything balances the other. And each side has little triggers to help swoop over to the other side so that the other side can take over. Okay, so that's why this 24-hour cycle that runs really hot, it needs sleep every 24 hours. It needs tryptophan to calm nerves. It needs melatonin to even begin to switch over and pass off the work to the rest and digest system. So just make sure to get all this stuff in, guys. It's really simple. Quercetin, that was really big too, along with zinc during COVID. That is like an antioxidant for your brain and your nervous system. It's antiviral in a lot of ways. So that is really good for just basic antioxidant levels and being able to fire accordingly. It does support the immune system as well. Lithium, they are giving for ADHD and bipolar. They are giving lithium in higher forms to people with depression as well. So you can get lithium through root foods like starches like potatoes, nightshades like tomatoes and peppers. Quercetin and lithium, I think both of them are in omega-3 chia seeds. So just make sure that you're getting enough of these things because they do help ADHD, all of these OCDs and attention deficit syndromes. So that will clear all of that up and help that feel normal. Also, this copper toxicity will mimic a B12 deficiency. So if you are raw vegan and you're going through some kind of hypercopper over toxicity and you know it, and you feel like you have a B12 deficiency, which is like brain fog and memory issues and not being able to think clearly, which was a lot of vegans go through, that is also just a masked copper toxicity. So get more avocados in your diet, get more chia seeds or whatever kind of fats that you find appetizing that are healthy, because that will really balance out everything that's out of whack. Also, lithium and iodine are in like foods like ashwagandha and these adaptogens that grow in really hot or cold places that are used to adapting. Those are really going to help everything with hormones, but also the nervous system and just being able to cope on both sides. Get your iodine from seaweed or sea kelp. I think like Asian diets, Mediterranean diets are the richest in seaweed, and those places and these blue zones that are really high in these minerals and these elements are definitely have the lowest health risks, especially cancer rates of anywhere in the world. So iodine will really clear out all your hormones. It's incredibly oxidizing. It's incredibly alkalizing. So it also will clear up metal tarnish and metal toxicity. So iodine will balance out copper. It will balance out zinc. It will balance out everything. If you need anything balanced out, get a natural, good source of iodine. I really like Trace Mineral Electrolyte Blend. It has other things besides iodine in it for your brain, like boron, which is also good for bone integrity. So we have the skin lightener, melatonin, and we have the skin darkener, melanin, the protectant. Make sure it's completely dark in your room, no phones, no clocks, no lights, to be able to induce melatonin naturally in the brain. And get your D3 to promote the melanin and the protection of all of these other systems that are passively congested. But melanin is protection, it's pigment protection, and that is necessary for reproductive areas, the skin, organs. A lot of reptiles and amphibians have melanin actually stored in their organs because they go through so much weather and predator scenarios that they actually isolate the melanin to their organs to protect the organs. So melanin is a pigment darkener and it's protection. It's UV protection, but it also is this antioxidant protection for the skin. So we also have to consider sulfur when we're dealing with collagen. There's no sulfur to kind of create that buffer for elasticity and suppleness. So that's when you see saggy skin. And that can also be helped with endorphins and some other physical activity, because you are going to burn off estrogen when you exercise as well. And it's going to help your digestive system when you exercise. So all of these really help to get copper levels at a healthy level. and for everything to balance out naturally. I hope I explain this well enough, because I've been wanting to put this up for a long time, and this has really helped me in the last year of recovering from 30 years of horrible health. The last 5 years were really bad since COVID, but this is the quick looking guide I have found really helps. If you need to Google or check facts on anything, I highly recommend doing your own research on anything that anyone on the internet says. But definitely plug anything you want into ChatGPT, kind of like understand your diet. I'm going to put more examples of foods that contain these minerals up on the screen. But if you really follow this diagram, if you follow the rhythm and you let your body do its thing, you will find that you have more energy than you've ever had. You might have just more natural toned muscle than you've ever had. You might sleep better than you have in a long time. So if nothing else from this presentation, stay away from sugar and fructose glucose as much as possible, especially if you are detoxing or healing. And if you need your vagus nerve to be on for like a good solid month, I would cut out carbs entirely. You will have to go through withdrawals and mood swings, but you will get through it, and you can reprogram your gut with new fats, and all of these omega-3s are going to be a lifesaver when you do detox any insulin. And that is going to help ETC, electric transport chain production, which produces ATP, your energy for your mitochondria. And the health of your mitochondria is really determining your biological age, how young you feel, look, how much energy you have, how quickly you're recovering, all of that. So that's all mitochondria. And this is how we support ATP production. I almost forgot to mention, there's so much about copper that I almost forget. But this Wilson's disease, it inhibits ATP-7B specifically. And that will also deteriorate chromosome 13 in your DNA. So it's not like the flu where you're getting a copper toxicity, you just need to detox and it's fine. Copper is one of those things that gets lodged and can actually stimulate the person, and they might not know that they have a copper toxicity. Usually if you are flush red, you have a zinc deficiency. And if you are pale, then you are copper deficient. Most of us are copper toxic. And so that is a chromosome and an ATP molecule that you actually pass on when you have children. So it is possible to pass on this very unstable emotional disposition genetically to your children. So I'm hoping that that hits home for some people. It's not just about aesthetics and cosmetics. It's really, truly about the sustainability of the integrity of your DNA and what you're passing on. And so that's something to think about, because there are generations after us. Make sure you're getting enough oxytocin, which is the social bonding chemical. You can get that with pets. You don't have to just get that with people, but that is any time that we are intimate with someone. It's the love hormone. So that's involved with intimacy. And serotonin is that calm, feel-good chemical that we get from doing something that we wanted to do or needed to do, saying something we wanted to say for a long time, just something that brings us a contentment and a calm and a feel good. Usually that's from, accomplishing something that was important to us, or doing something that was important to us, or something that was important to us getting done. We'll get a serotonin kick. And serotonin levels these days are kind of at an all-time low for most people because procrastination is on the rise. And when you lay your head down at night and you're reflecting and thinking about what's important to you, what got done, what didn't get done, all the things, that's when you're connecting with serotonin or not. You feel calm, content, and good, or anxious. So if you have healthy serotonin levels and oxytocin levels every day, that probably means your nervous system is doing pretty well. That probably means that you're not too emotional. So I hope that makes sense, guys. I hope all of this is plain as day. I hope that it bridges gaps and puzzle pieces that you've been looking for a long time. You will have so much energy. Thank you so much for listening. So this last part of the video, I'm going to go over the systems of the body and show you a little trick. So we have 12 months of the year. We have 12 systems in our body. And every month, nature naturally emphasizes and releases one kind of like specific mineral or nutrient that's really necessary for both the biosphere and our biology, for nature's biology to thrive. So every month there is a different mineral release, and that nourishes one specific system of our body. And that goes all 12 months. And that's how we are complete, eating seasonally, eating sustainably, and eating locally. That is how it's so good. Like, nature is designed to work together. It's all designed to work as one. So I'm going to go through these lists. As you know, this is like the more masculine side and this is the more feminine side. But I'm just going to go through them as is. Here we go. Don't worry, too. I will put up on the screen all the foods, and you can hit pause if you need to, but I'm going to put a picture up of all the foods that associate with each month. So if you want to watch that whole presentation, that is the system, cycles, and seasons of the body. It's a little bit longer because I have to explain this, but basically, we are all in our mother's womb for 9 of the 12 months, typically. And what that does is it lets us absorb all of these wonderful nutrients from our mother's womb for 9 months. However, all of us are naturally deficient in 3 of the 12 months. So the month you're born, or your sun sign, your sun month, and the 2 months after are going to be your cornerstone of health, where you're naturally deficient. Those are going to be the systems that work the hardest, that need the most supplementation, and where you're just naturally a little bit more deficient. So this also comes into play on your natal chart, wherever your Mars and your like malefic planets are, like Saturn, Mars, Sun, because all of those planets use up energy a lot quicker on a daily basis, faster. So that's why that's the way it is. All right, so I'm going to go through these as is. Nervous system, head, brain, pineal gland, that is potassium phosphate, like avocados, all for cognitive function, and that rules Aries. Muscular system, chest, breast, and the visceral area. Muscular system, calcium fluoride, that is Cancer. Skeletal, bones, knees, calcium phosphate, that is Capricorn. Immune system, sinuses, arms, potassium chloride, and this rules Gemini. Excretory system, also the urinary system. That is the kidneys. It also rules the ears. And that is sodium phosphate, and that is Libra. Cardiovascular system, heart and blood. That is magnesium phosphate, or magnesium, and that is Leo, the Leo heart, lion heart. All right, we have endocrine system. That is ruled by the feet. Iron phosphate, or ferrum phosphate, is that mineral, and that is Pisces. Lymphatic, that is the neck and pituitary gland. That is ruled by Taurus, and that is sodium sulfate. Integumentary system, that's just the skin system. That's your fascia. That is Sagittarius, and that is ruled by the mineral silica. Digestive system, it's actually like everything from your stomach to your bowels, but the gut rules the digestive system, and that is Virgo. That's potassium sulfate. And reproductive system, it rules the adrenals in the groin and all the reproductive organs. That is Scorpio, and that's calcium sulfate. And then we have the respiratory system, which is just the lungs that gets rid of carbon dioxide at night. That's why we have to have a pathway to breathe, so that for 8 hours we can dispel all this carbon dioxide at a normal, regular rate. So respiratory system, lungs. It also is the ankles, where we hold water weight. That is Aquarius. And sodium chloride is that mineral, salt water. So find out what month your sign is. So that is going to be 3 systems that are going to bridge the gap for you in terms of deficiencies and energy depletion. So take that into consideration. Take into consideration your lifestyle and all this above. But yes, that is a little trick of medical astrology to be able to understand what systems are doing what they need. And yes, I will post foods up here for you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Drop me a comment. If you would like me to look at your chart, at your health and everything about you, I can do that. So that is how I kind of got to this visual aid. If you liked it, hit the like button. I will see you guys soon. I love you guys. I hope you have vibrant health. I hope that you feel better than you have in years. And I hope that 2025 and 2026 are the best, most solid, stable, healthy, goal-driven years of your life. All right. Aloha.